Bottom Shelf Boomsticks here, doing another first impression review of the 1895 Russian Nagant Revolver. First thing that you'll notice that I'm sure you've already made the conclusion of yourself is that it's yet another ugly gun brought to you by Bottom Shelf Boomsticks. This gun was lent to us by an anonymous viewer. He actually told us that he only paid $130 for this gun from an establishment, not third party. So obviously a fairly cheap weapon. And I do want to kind of talk about some of the cosmetic differences that you might find from your everyday revolver. First of which being the odd shape that it's in. And honestly, I don't have an explanation for that. It has this weird dip here, which honestly I don't know what it could be for, because I'm sure if you have a bigger hand than I do, you might get a little bit of hammer bite on the back. Which, if that bothers you, then maybe not be the gun for you. But if it doesn't, then there you go. Obviously, the first thing you'll notice on here is these lovely wooden grips, but upon closer inspection, you will notice that they are in fact plastic. That had to do with they wouldn't import them into the country because the wood on them had, from what I have been told, some kind of wood disease that they didn't want bringing over here. So all of them were refitted with these plastic wooden looking grips. Something a little unique about this revolver, other than obviously the way it looks, is the fact that it is a 7-round cylinder. Obviously meaning you can put 7 pistol cartridges in at once. Speaking of the cartridges, actually, here's one. Looks like it's an empty shell casing, but upon, once again, closer inspection, you will see the bullet actually sunken into the casing. Right in there, if I can get you a good kind of depth view of it. And I'll go into that in a minute. Another thing about this gun, it has what they call it dual stabilizing rods for takedown. This being the secondary, if you can look at it. Secondary stabilizing rod is what they call it. What they did call it, told me it was, anyway. You pull this little latch down here, and this when you swivel this to the side, it actually acts as, let's see if I can get a better shot of it for you. It actually acts, excuse me, as your ejector rod. So this is not a swing out, it is not a break action. You do have to eject each shell individually, which, despite what you may be thinking, this was actually a military-issued firearm. The Russian military issued the single action to the privates and the lower ranking, and the officers would get the double action. Now, one thing, I don't know if you got to see it, but when I pulled the trigger, the cylinder actually pushes forward toward the barrel of the gun. Now, if you want to go back to the shell here, you can actually see that this will insert into the Forstner gun, creating a gas seal, which actually is supposed to give more power for the amount of grains in it, which is it's a very low velocity round, shooting a 98 grain projectile. The bullet is 98 grains. So, like I said, the revolver will come up and push to the front of the gun. Now, like I said, it does have a 7-round cylinder. Let's see if I can get it out of here for you. The first thing you want to do is take this and turn it a half turn to your right, or your left, depending on how you're holding the gun. Hopefully you're not holding it barrel toward you. You just pull out the secondary stabilizing rod, and if you see down here, that will free this part right here. If you can see it, there's a little part here, and it swivels out to the right. right. And you pull out the main stabilizing rod, which is underneath. And like I said, this lever will be down when you do this. And you just push that right out, and the cylinder comes out. You can see the 7 chambers that are there. And I would like to show you that the round does come out a little bit past the cylinder, or I should say past each chamber, if you can see that. And when I was talking about that forcing cone earlier, that's right here. So what that is it sits back like this, and when you get to the point where it's gonna fire, it actually juts the round, which is in the cylinder, forward, creating a gas seal right here. That means more power going out of the barrel, more force coming out of the barrel, and less of it escaping through here. And obviously it's a pretty simple takedown. Putting it back together is just as simple, yet a little finicky. You just kind of got to find the right way it wants to go in. Put the stabilizing rod back in once you get it in place. Swing that back. Push the ejector rod back in, or secondary stabilizing rod. Push it a half turn to the left. Close your latch right here. And the gun is back and operational. Now, this gun, other than being a little, how do you say, impractical and ugly, we did take it to the range. I don't know if you can see the sights here. They're very standard sights, just a notched back sight and a adjustable front sight. Very simple. We took this puppy to the range, and here are the results right here. This is from about 8 or 9 yards away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So all on paper. That's always a plus. And I was aiming around right here at the 7. So that means it shoots a little bit higher than where you're aiming, which, again, there is no height adjustable sight, so you're just going to have to aim a little low. But, you know, it's obviously it's a revolver. There's not a lot that can go wrong, so as far as reliability, it's not going to... There's nothing that can really go wrong, like I said. So obviously it went bang every time. Hit the target. If this was, I don't know, someone trying to get into your house or, you know, anything like that, he'd be put down pretty quickly. So if you want a revolver maybe for your truck, or your car, or maybe even home defense, as long as you don't mind the heavy trigger pull that it gives to push the cylinder forward, and it is a very hefty trigger pull. I would probably say maybe around 11, 12, maybe pushing 13-pound trigger pull. Of course, if that bothers you, you can always single action it. But it does have the 7 rounds, like I said before. So that could be a plus to you if it maybe doesn't matter to you. I like the fact that it has an extra round in it. But like I said, the gun shoots pretty straight. Again, the person who lent it to us got it for $130. So if you're really strapped for cash, but you're worried about your own safety, and literally this is all you can afford, $130 can get you a 7-shot revolver. Like I said, there's no speed loaders or anything that you're going to get to it, because you do have to load it 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 if you're extremely skilled, which I am not. I have to do 1 by 1. So you just do that, spin it, and load the other one. Let me show you how this ejector rod works. Now that I have a chance to show you, you'll actually hear 2 clicks when you spin it with this lever down. So there's the first one, it's a light click, second one is a heavy click. Pushes the round right out. So spin that back, push it in. So the gun's pretty easy to operate, it shoots pretty straight, and like I said, you'll have an extra round in case you're not as good a shot like me. I'm not very good either, as you can see. But like I said, cheap gun. If you're just looking for a range toy, it's fantastic. There's barely any recoil at all if you're recoil sensitive like some people. It feels like shooting nothing, really. And other than that, the gun's pretty solid. Like I said, I wish the trigger pull was a little less a pain, I guess you could say. But like I said, you can single action it. And a lot of people don't like buying range toys that like practical guns, but this is only $130. So if you're really looking for a new thing to add to your collection that you can just take to the range and show off, it's not a bad idea to pick one of these up. And the ammo, I almost forgot to tell you, the ammo is not expensive. I would say it's completely average for almost any handgun round that's not personal defense. And it's pretty widely available. I mean, I went to Cabela's and picked up a box of 50, and they had a ton more. So it's not at all hard to find ammo. And the ammo's cheap, like I said. It's, I think I paid $25 for a box of 50. So it's not the cheapest of ammo, but it is widely available, and it's not going to, you know, break the bank or anything like that. So if you're looking for maybe a gun just to keep by the side of your bed, or, like I said, a gun just to show off and go play with, it's fantastic. I love the dang thing. He might have a hard time getting this back from me, to be honest. But yeah, so if you ever were looking at one of these and wondering if it's worth the incredible amount of $130, which I know is completely uncalled for, I'd say pick it up if you have the time. If you don't need anything else and you're just looking for a new toy, definitely pick it up. It's fantastic. I love it. Ammo's cheap, easy to find, it's really fun, and it's interesting. I mean, you can see a lot of people love that it's a Tula, I think is how you pronounce it, the factory that made it. And it's just a fantastic little gun. It's fun. It's fun. That's all I can say about it. It's cheap, it's fun, the ammo's easy to find, and like I said, it's accurate in a pinch. So, you know, take for it what you will. I like it. I have a bunch of other people that say they enjoy shooting it with me. But, you know, that once again, that's completely up to you guys. Well, other than that, I will put the video, or I'll put the annotation in the top corner of the video so you guys can see us taking it to the range. Other than that, that's been Bottom Shelf Boomsticks.